If your hair seems to not be growing and there's nothing that you can do to pass shoulder length, to pass a certain length, then there's a strong possibility that it is not that your hair is not growing, but you're not retaining length. And one of the main reasons why you're not retaining length is possibly that you are not balancing moisture and protein in your hair. There is a codependent relationship between moisture and protein. That means that neither one can work well without the other, and that is why it is critical to balance moisture and protein in your regimen to ensure that you're maintaining healthy hair. Wagwan, thank you for opening Sashelle's journal. I am your girl Sashelle, and on my channel I do beauty, makeup, skincare, hair care, all of that. I just make you feel beautiful inside and out. And also, if you want to document your journey, I sometimes give YouTube advice. So if that is something that is of interest to you, go ahead, hit that subscribe button and join the family. We have a good family over here. Big period. So guys, today I am coming in. I'm gonna let you know all you need to know about your moisture and protein balance. As it stands, I am now 4.5 months post relaxer. I know I told you guys that I don't think I'm gonna stretch back to 6 months, but due to my condition, and I told you guys that I was going through postpartum shedding and all of that, I decided that a 6-month stretch is ideal so I cannot get any chemicals on my hair to basically further let the issue persist. So basically I'm stretching for 6 months. Everyone that knows about hair knows that this is where your hair is most fragile, and then working with the two textures, chances of you receiving breakage is kind of up to here. So understanding how you balance moisture and protein, especially during your relaxer stretches, is of utmost importance. So if that is something that you're interested in, go ahead and stay tuned for the video. So as I have mentioned, one of the main reasons that your hair seems to not be growing is because you are not retaining length, and not necessarily that your hair is not growing, because on average the average human hair grows about ½ an inch a month, and even though ½ an inch seems like it's not a lot, over time it accumulates, and that is like in a perfect world, a breakage free world, and most of the time we are not gonna see all of that length. So the reason why our hair seems to be stuck at a certain length because we are not retaining the length that we were blessed with, basically. So if we're not seeing that ½ an inch of growth, or at least some amount of growth monthly, depending on how your hair grows, then there's a strong possibility that most of that hair is breaking off. And the main reason, or one of the main reasons why your hair is breaking off, is because you have not found that balance between your moisture and protein. Hence your hair may be too moisturized or overly moisturized, or having too much moisture, or it has too much protein, or you might be undergoing protein overload. And let me just dive into this a little bit deeper for you so you can understand clearly what I mean. What is the characteristics of balanced hair? Now, balanced hair will have that perfect balance between moisture and protein. So it will look very silky, very shiny, but at the same time it will be very flowy, it will be movable, it will be breathable, it will be elastic, meaning that if stretched, if you're natural and if it's stretched, no matter how far you stretch, it will revert back to its original state without breaking. It will also be very resistant to breakage. You won't see a lot of shedding and all of that. When you comb through, you won't see a lot of hair falling out. When it is balanced, you have enough moisture and protein, keeping the hair in its healthiest stage. Now, balancing moisture and protein is a gradual thing, and you will find that sometimes your hair is balanced, but that is our hair in its perfect state, and we are not perfect, and sometimes our regimens or things that we use can kind of take our hair out of balance. So what causes our hair to be out of balance? Being out of balance is determined by a number of factors, and it's not just one thing. It can be the regimen that you're using, the type of products that you're using, that basically cause your hair to be out of balance. So you have to study your hair and see what works. Listen to your hair basically speaks to you, and then it will tell you what it needs. So if you're using a type type of products, you want to know the ingredients that you're using to ensure that they have adequate protein, adequate moisture, or they have a mixture of both. Because if you're using all protein based products, chances are your hair might not get enough moisture. If you use too much moisture based products and not enough products with protein, then your hair won't have enough protein, and that is where the imbalance or the out of balance comes in. Hair that does not have enough moisture will look very dry. It will also shed a lot, and it will tend to feel very coarse, and it will kind of break easily. When we realize that our hair is in this state, then we tend to go ahead and we try to go ham on the moisturizing. But if we use too much or overdo it on moisturizing without balancing with protein, then our hair can potentially become too moisturized. What are the characteristics of hair that is overly moisturized or too moisturized? You can tell that your hair has too much moisture when it starts to look very weighed down, very limp, and very stringy. It will also feel gummy in texture, and if you pull the hair, it will just be pulling everlasting, especially if you are a natural person, and it will not even break. And this just shows that the hair has lost its elasticity, and that shows that, you know, we have too much moisture in the hair without replenishing it with the protein. In this state, the hair can also look very gummy and very mushy and just very unattractive, and this type of hair tends to get tangled easily and go in knots. And when you have knots in your hair, it's the hardest thing to get through, and chances are you might break your hair trying to lose those knots. So what causes your hair to be so overly moisturized or having too much moisture? Causes of overly moisturized hair includes moisturizing too often, deep conditioning multiple times per week and for extended length of time, failure to incorporate products that are protein based, not following up with replenishing protein treatments, and using too many heavy protein products such as oils and butters over an extended period of time. So these are the causes of overly moisturized hair, and that is basically we are putting in too much moisture in our hair and not balancing that out with protein, so we have balance between the two. And as my granny and my mother would have said, too much of one thing, good for none. But thankfully, moisturized or overly moisturized hair can easily be fixed or combated. Protein treat, and from that protein treat, normally you will see an instant difference in your hair. So you can go for a light protein treatment where you kind of deep condition with, for example, hair mayo. You can go for the ApHogee 2-minute reconstructor, which I had shown in a previous video. I'm going to link right here. Or you can go and incorporate other protein treatments. You can also go on natural protein treats, such as using egg masks and other type of protein based masks. My favorite protein treatment is the ApHogee 2-step treatment, but that should be really used by professionals, but I haven't really had any problems using it. But trust me, one use from that treatment and then your hair will basically turn around instantly. So let us now talk about too much protein or protein overload, which is a little more complicated than our moisture problem that we have over here. So what are the characteristics of protein overload or too much protein in your hair? Your hair may have too much protein if it is wet or if it is dry. When you stretch it, it will stretch a little and then it will kind of snag and it will break. It will be very rough, very coarse, and very hard to deal with. Very stiff, very unattractive hair. And how do we combat this? And what causes our hair to have protein overload is basically we're using products that are primarily just protein-based conditioners, protein-based shampoos, protein-based deep conditioners, leave-ins. All of that is what causes our hair to have too much protein, and then we're using these products but we're not balancing them with moisture. And that is why I say they have a codependent relationship. We're using too much of that thing and not enough of the other to balance that out. This is where things kind of get technical, because then when you're trying to restore hair that has protein overload, too much protein, then it's not as simple as moisturizing hair or trying to balancing back out that moisture, because basically the hair does not have enough moisture and one go might not re-moisturize the hair. So basically you would have to come up with a regime to re-moisturize that hair, and it will take a number of tries. So basically you have to come up with an entire regimen on how you will basically replenish that hair with the moisture, because that is really what it is lacking. So you want to get the moisture in the hair, but you also want to limit the amount of protein that is going in it during this phase. In order to replenish hair that has protein overload, include weekly deep conditioning with moisture-based conditioners, hot oil treatment, LOC and LCO methods for moisturizing and sealing, moisturizing mask, and trying to use moisturizing products until the problem has been resolved. Try not to use protein-based products. Moisturizing products tend to have water as their first ingredients, so you want to look out for those when you are shopping for products to use. I've given you all the ways that you can go ahead and re-moisturize that hair or get it back to a better state by balancing out the protein with moisture. So in the phase that you're trying to replenish the hair, you want to completely throw out protein for now, because we have more than enough in our hair. Out of everything that I mentioned, you want to pay keen attention to deep conditioning and moisturizing and sealing. Now, deep condition is when you have added a moisture-based conditioner. So once you use a moisture-based conditioner, you're gonna go under the hooded dryer or use your blow dryer with a plastic cap over your head, and you're gonna basically stay for a while and basically get your hair follicles to open and basically soak up the moisture. And then moisturize and seal. I have a dedicated moisturize and seal routine if you want to go ahead and check that out, and you want to do this like on a weekly basis, probably 3 times a week or every other day, and you do this until you see the results. Now, once you have seen that your hair has gone to a state where it has been replenished, there's adequate moisture and protein, then now we're gonna go forward and you are not gonna remake your mistakes. So you're gonna ensure that you have adequate moisture and protein, and follow my wash day routine. I will link it up here, and you basically see how I basically combine my products. So in every wash day and throughout the entire week, I ensure that I have adequate moisture and protein based products at all times. So what you need to understand that everybody's hair is different, and some persons need more protein more than some persons need more moisture than some. So if your hair tends to be very dry and have the characteristics of, you know, hair that needs moisture, then you can go ahead and dedicate to moisture for a while. If your hair shows signs of being too coarse or very hard to deal with or having protein buildup, then you want to ease off of that, and then you want to go ahead and replenish your hair with the moisture that it needs. So your hair will speak to you. You don't always have to do the same thing over and over, just to listen to your hair. So in a synopsis, guys, you want to ensure that you have adequate moisture and protein balance to ensure that your hair is in the healthiest state. That does not have adequate moisture and protein balance will be prone to breakage, and then you will not be seeing the growth or retain the length that you have received. Once you have repaired the hair, then you can go on and practice your good regimen in order to basically see the growth that you are entitled to, basically. So guys, yes, that is all. I hope this video was very informative. If it has helped you in any way to open up or given you enough insight on how you balance moisture and protein in your hair, don't forget to let me know down in the comment box below, guys. Let me know what other hair videos you want to see, and go ahead and check out my other hair videos, which are proven to be very informative and has helped a lot of persons also in their journey. Guys, don't forget to let me know your feedbacks on what you want to see on my channel, and I'll see you next week.